Hello. Welcome to my talk on empowering all students to succeed. I'm Dr. Sathasivan from the University of Texas at Austin, as well as I serve as adjunct professor at the Austin Community College and a chief academic officer of SquareCap. And this is an excellent opportunity to think about what makes students succeed and what type of challenges they face as the Supreme Court is currently, considering the case about loan forgiveness to the students, and probably they are going to declare a verdict soon. But what is practically happening here is something that we all need to be thinking about. As of today, the student loan debt in the U.S. is about $1.757 trillion. As you could see that, the outstanding debt is still $1.635 trillion, and about 43.5 million borrowers still have federal student debt. And the average debt is about $37,000 per student. And as you could see from this graph, the student debt has been increasing more rapidly than an auto loan and a credit card loan. That is the most common debt that students take, and it is a lifelong commitment from which they cannot, get out of. So what is contributing to this? You need to think about students coming into college, hoping to get a degree, but not all of them complete the degree and graduate on time. So what is happening there? If you look at the two-year graduation rate of our two-year college's graduation rate, in about 150% of the time it requires. Say, for example, someone is expected to complete an associate degree in 2 years, and within 3 years, are they able to complete this or not? Is the topic they are talking about. And here, if you look at all institutions, it's about 35% at the maximum, and public institution is slightly lower, and private nonprofit is higher than that, and a private for-profit is even higher. Even then, it is closer to 50%, 55%, not greater than that. So, best case scenario, only 1 out of 2 students graduate, and that is something that will contribute to the student debt. At the same time, lack of opportunities for them. But on an average, it is 30% is really low. Then you wonder, what about four-year colleges or, tier 1 institutions? It's slightly better. Still, there's a room for improvement. And overall, it is about 60-65% graduation rate in 6 years. And these are the public universities, and this is a private non-profit universities, relatively higher, but the private for-profit is really as low as the 2-year college graduation rate of about only 30%. So if you see this chart, you can see anywhere from 35 to 70% of students do not graduate, even in 150% of the time, means in 3 years in a 2-year college or 6 years in a 4-year college. Okay. So when they don't graduate, all that amount they invested in the education is now ends up as a student loan, and they don't get the job they would otherwise get had they graduated. Okay, so what is really affecting this, student success? So if you see the different factors that affect student success, this is based on National Center for Education Statistics. They published a very nice report by a Ku et al. Team, and it's well studied and well researched. Even though it's done, a while ago, is still a lot of information is valid. The pre-college experience of the student coming into college, either 2 years or 4 years, in terms of their academic preparation, in terms of their aptitude and college readiness, and then also the gender, race, gender and socioeconomic status, or SES, all that affect, their success in college. Then the enrollment choices, somebody, are not really ready to go become a pre-med and go to medical school or become a computer scientist, but they're taking those courses. There's a mismatch of their preparation and their goal. So that also causes, challenges. Then comes family and peer support, whether they have anyone in the family as a mentor, and then whether they have a good cohesive group of, colleagues who can also support that. And then the motivation to learn. That motivation, you can think about inherent motivation, that is intrinsic, come from within, and then extrinsic motivation from others and from outside. Both are essential for the student success. Okay? But how can we improve that? What type of student behaviors and institutional conditions we can improve? Students from college. So we already saw that the being academically underprepared for college level work is a critical factor. And then taking a break after high school, so students may get rusty about the subject that need to know when getting into college. And then attending college part-time, not having the financial background or time to commit a full-time learning, and then being a single parent, taking care of a child. As a single parent, it puts a lot of stress on the student, and being financially independent, personal resources or government resources they can get to focus on their studies and not having to work on top of doing a full-time study or part-time study. And then caring for children or even elderly at home can affect them, and working more than 30 hours a week is important. Critical that they need that for the financial support, but that can be hurting their learning opportunity. And then being a first generation college student, they don't have a real mentors, and they look for role models and to follow that. And so being aware of the student needs, we can make certain aspects more accessible, and facilitating student tutor discussion or peer learning atmosphere in the class, and checking for their understanding and helping them in a personal way. All that would help. Okay, how does the peer interactions promote learning? So a simple thing, the way we can structure the course is having students discuss with their peers in small groups and teaching each other as to how a particular concept works, or how to solve a particular problem, or how to prepare for this exam. All that is going to be very helpful. And it's structuring that group project, not only doing it in the lab, but also in making a presentation and doing a research or preparing for the exam. All that will be very helpful. And it could be a member of their fraternity or sorority, but such things are not common. They could be an academic honor club. And but in addition to joining that, also being aware of the racial, ethnic, or gender issues, and being accepted as they are, will also welcome learning and opportunities. And some of the aspects of non-academic life, as being given importance as selected to student office, or spending time in socializing, all that will help in their mental health, so that they feel welcome, and so there's no barriers for their learning, and there's no baggage they carry that will hinder their learning. So these all look non-academic, but they are very important for their academic success. Okay? But coming into academic success, what is the science of learning, or neuroscience and learning science, talk about. This was nicely summarized as 4 pillars of learning by Stanislaus Dehaene, just published, a couple of years ago, How We Learn. And he talks about 4 major pillars of learning. Number 1 is attention. How much attention a student can pay, in class, and, not only attending the class, and also being physically and mentally being present in the class is the attention part. Okay? And then engagement. Okay, see, maybe they're physically taking notes and, paying attention, but how much are they engaged? Are they listening to the lecture? Are they responding to questions? And how do they keep up with their engagement? And interest is important, because we continue to talk for 15 minutes or 1 hour 15 minutes. They're going to lose interest if you don't take a break. Their attention span is short, and they need a different modes of engagement, and that is something that I'll get into a bit more detail in this presentation. And then they need to get feedback on the mistakes that they have done. It could be a multiple choice question or a free response question. We need to give them the feedback, what they got wrong, why they got it wrong, and so on. I think that is very important. And then, consolidation happen in their, every waking hour and while they sleep, all their knowledge being consolidated. And out of all these 4 pillars of learning, first 3 are under our control. And when I say our control, both the control of the professor and the institution, that can help in the student success. Okay, so coming into student engagement, classroom engagement, how do we engage them? This is something I'll get into a bit more detail, and it can be as simple as asking questions in the class and receiving prompt feedback. So it could be excuse me. Yeah. Thank you. Just clearing some congestion I had, just get some water. So what I was talking about is about asking questions in class and receiving prompt feedback, and emphasis on studying and academic work, as to how we help them prioritize what is important to them, and also providing the support to succeed academically. As we talked about, tutoring support, classroom engagement, error feedback, and peer engagement, and group studies, and things like that. So how do we measure this? In the individual course level and at the institution level, as simple as grades and the cumulative GPA, and the student learning gains and how they improve over time in every exam. And then at the institutional level, graduation rates and 4-year and 6-year, and then employment, what type of job they get, and then also whether they go into graduate schools and professional school, and how they are engaged in lifelong learning. Okay, so all these are important. So to narrow down to what we can do specifically, that I just wanted to talk about the classroom engagement system that we developed at UT Austin, and that is based on these principles and how we are utilizing it and to improve the graduation rate. Okay. So this is called Square Cap, and this is a novel classroom response system that we went through the existing systems, and we got feedback from the students and the professors as to what do they really need, and then developed it based on their need. So this works on any web-enabled device, a laptop, smartphone, and tablet, and it identifies the strengths and weaknesses of the students early in the semester, before the first exam itself. So within 2 weeks, he can tell who is going to succeed and who needs intervention, and so on. Then he can provide targeted feedback with links to the content from publishers. If some student got a question wrong, he can give a feedback as to, this is a wrong response, and this is the chapter and section that you need to study. And it also provides opportunity to intervene during the class, and by the professor or any other tutors and peers. They can identify students who need help. Okay, and how it helps is a few more details I will share with you. And it tracks attendance of the student. That is part of the pillar of learning, attendance and attention. And it encourages active participation, during, regular class as well as in online Zoom discussion. And both are important. And, you can conduct questions on a web browser or a PowerPoint widget. And this also works well with a LMS, Blackboard, or Canvas. And it can synchronize with the roster and be easily used. And there are different types of question. The multiple choice question is a real-time, polling, and you have a question-wide feedback you can provide, or you can provide an individual, answer choice feedback. So that way they know why, B is correct and why C or A, they are wrong, and you can provide some explanation. Okay. And it is also possible to ask a numerical question where you have an angular momentum or any other aspects of like physics or calculation problems in math. It can be asked with an exact answer or with an error margin. Okay. In addition to these two types of question, multiple choice and numerical, you can also ask a free response question that promotes discussion, and it just develops a word cloud. And so this is very simple, viewed as a one-word answer to a long sentence. Both short and long response are possible. Up to 1,000 words can be done in as an even essay response, and a very short, quick answers as well as long answers are easy to do that. Okay, and so the way students engage with the professor, because most of the time when we teach, they are shy to ask question. Few brave ones will raise their hand and ask question. Most of them are going to stay shy. But here, there's an ask and vote feature. The students can click on it, and then that call out icon, it will show that there's one question waiting to be answered, and that is how you can answer that. And there is no like a hold up on the professor to stop the lecture. You can take a pause, and when you have a time to transition, and to use that pause to answer these questions. Okay? And this anonymous question capability really allows students who are shy and the first generation student to feel free to ask questions. Okay? The other aspect that we know, even if they don't ask question, we have a unique seat map built into this software where, if a student missed this question when A is the correct answer, somebody answered E, or somebody answered any other response like a D in this case, we can go nearby and ask them, hey, what do you think about this question? What do you think, A is right or D is right? What is your rationale? That will help bring up not only misconception, but also help them learn from their mistake. I think that is a real-time learning of a dynamic seat map. They can sit anywhere in the class, and based on the position in the front of the classroom or back of the classroom, they can choose to select and then answer. And based on their correctness of the answer, the seat map colors vary. The Square Cap can also be used as a practice for the exam. They can review that question and answers and explanation at any time before the exam. That helps them learn from their mistake, also understand what they really know well and what they don't know really well. So that is another thing, becoming aware of their learning, called metacognition. This facilitates. Okay? But it's not just to the software or using the software, but what result does it give? You can see that, this A's and B's went up. This is a survey from actual results of 26 professors at UT Austin before using Square Cap and after using Square Cap. The C's and D's went down, okay, and A's and B's went up. So this is something significant change that happened. And it's a positive trend. You can see that. So overall, you can see the student success depends on the classroom engagement by asking questions in class, even if you don't use Square Cap or other classroom response systems. Can think about even engaging them by simply asking questions in between instead of continuous lecture, and giving them the feedback why their understanding is correct or not correct, and then emphasize the necessity for time management and study skills, and analyzing the question and understanding the concept and how to apply them. All that will really help them and provide the support needed to succeed. Okay, so at the same time, you want to also summarize how can we measure this. It's simple as a student grades, and then the student GPA, and finally the graduation rate. So tying back all to what we started with is, how do we reduce a student debt? We're helping them succeed in the major they want to specialize in, and getting them the degree so that they can move on to gain valuable job, or going to graduate school for more professional training. Okay. So with that, if any question, feel free to email me at sata@austin.utexas.edu. I'll be very glad to give you more details about this or any other thing that you like to know or implement in your class for student success. Okay, thank you.